Two. Hey guys, what's up? Nico here, and in this episode, I have Andy. Andy, where are you coming from, man?
Hey, I'm in the UK. I'm in the south. It's just sort of west of London by about 100 miles. So most people kind of know London, and that's about it in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So you're about 2 hours west of London, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Not too
Cool.
far really.
So we're gonna talk to Andy today. He has his own business. I actually haven't had any pre-podcast, pre-episode talk with Andy. So what you guys are gonna see is basically, unscripted. It's gonna be awesome. So let's get to it. So Andy, introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and tell us about your business.
Oh yeah. So I mean, my day job, I work in IT, but I always look for a creative outlet, to try and stretch myself and to learn new things. And I started getting into 3D printing. I started off with an Ender 3 many years ago. I say many years ago, it's about 4.5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it was just purely to um, come out with a design I had in my head that I just needed to put into a physical object. And yeah, it's kind of expanded a little bit from there, really. I do a lot of practical designs as opposed to 3D renders or images and stuff. So I come up with solutions for problems, or I come out with items that you can no longer make, and people come to me and say, can you reproduce this, or can you make me something that will do this job? And then I try to produce those items as cheap as possible for them from a design perspective, but it's always under the premise is that I continue to own the design, and those designs then go onto the internet so that other people can purchase them and buy them.
So you're basically uh, a small scale of prototyping and manufacturing. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And I tend to keep my products semi-simple, and I don't tend to go into exotic materials. I think the most exotic I tend to use would be ABS, but a lot of the time the things that I'm producing will work equally well with PETG and even PLA.
Okay. So do you have an engineering background? Like, how'd you come up with this?
No, I work in IT, so I'm sort of good with new technologies. I spend my entire life learning new softwares, and I've kind of treated, the softwares that I'm using now as just opportunities to learn those things. So I went straight into Fusion when I was starting to learn the 3D rendering, and then progressed then on, because I don't just do 3D design. I've got an OM Tech laser cutter. I've got a Elegoo laser cutter. And I kind of try to combine all of those items together, whether it be using perspex with plastic, or making designs that work with each other. So I tend to render using Fusion and Lightburn, to try and copy the designs across. And then a few products that I've got off Kickstarter where they allow you to scan objects straight into SVGs, which just makes it easier to get real sizes, as opposed to having to use 3D scanners, because a lot of the objects we can reproduce quite easily using 2D scanning.
Of course, of course. So how did you get into this business, man? Like how did this just land on your lap? Like, how did it come about?
No, I mean there was a concept. There was a thing that I needed for our caravan. So in the UK, caravan is quite big. I think you have motorhomes, don't you, in the USA? But we
Yeah.
have we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
these caravans, and they're more
I
traditional in
kind of
the
figured
UK.
that's what that was.
Yeah. So we have these caravans, and I wanted like a low profile clip to allow me to attach lots of objects within the caravan without having to carry too much weight. So plastic was an ideal solution, but I also needed it to be horizontally scalable. So the clip that I came up with, which I never mass produced, is called a Cara clip. And I put it on the back of a bin, and it allowed me to basically to slot the bin onto the door, and then take the bin off and the trash can, I think you call them, and take that outside and empty it. And then, but also I then was able to scale it up again and actually hang the TV on the wall. So I put my low profile clip on the wall. I put the other on the back with like a VESA fitting on it, and then I could basically hang. When we arrived at on the site, I hang my TV on the caravan wall, and then take it off when we're traveling again.
So
So
you made
because
it
it
kind of
was
modular then at that point.
well, it was scalable horizontally and vertically without having to scale out that way, because the strength was in the design. It was like a key and lock, but in a slot
Right,
down.
right, right. What
So,
I'm
so
saying is that you made the Caravan modular with,
yeah,
hey, I need this right now. I take it out. I need this right now. It's
exactly.
interchangeable, right?
Yeah, and I could hang things on it. So I came up with that product for those needs, and then kind of just kept going. I just, I need this to do this. It's like and the next big design I sort of came up with that's been really popular, that I sell a lot of on eBay, is a thing in the caravans. They have sliding doors, and because caravans twist and warp a little bit, that we quite often arrive on site if we've been down a bumpy track and the door had fallen off the track, and damaged the worktop or damaged the door. And so I designed this little fixing kit that went on the back of the hinge to stop it popping off. And I put it on this forum, on Facebook, and everyone's going, "Yeah, my door does that as well, and my door does that as well."
Mhm, mhm.
You know, I ended up selling about 200 of these things, that
Wow,
just
congratulations,
just
man.
just doing Facebook. And then so I then started expanding upon, things that I needed, replacement parts, etc. So I'm now I've sold 892 designs on Colts, in the last 12
Wow.
months, which, is, in the grand scale of things, it's not a mass thing, but I sell them for £1 a piece. I work under the do you have IKEA in America?
Yes, I love
Yeah.
IKEA.
So I work under that premise. I'd rather sell a lot of them, but cheap. So I want to make a little bit of money. I'm not there to make my millions. So I sell them for £1 each, which is about, $1.40 or something in the USA. And I just kind of sell as many as I can. And it's just, I think it's nice for me to think that I've got 1,000 things out there that somebody is printed and and are using. So it's sort of like a nice reward for me.
Yeah, man,
So
that's really cool.
so I kind of do that. I sell the same designs that I print off myself and put them on eBay and Etsy. But I kind of have moved into the direction now that I do use my 3D printer for my own prototyping. So I design something, I make sure it fits the solution and it works to function, but then I sell the design. So then I haven't got to post anything, I haven't got to print anything, I haven't got to send it off. I just leave it on Colts at £1, and it brings in a little bit of pocket money on the side. And I kind
Yeah,
of
for
just
sure, man.
working. And yeah, my designs, they're increasing. I've got like 50 designs sitting on Colts, and sometimes some sit on there for 5 or 6 months, and you don't sell one, and you think, well, it's okay because I've used it. I'm quite happy I've used it, and then it sells, and you're like, I knew it. I knew somebody else would need one eventually. I knew someone would need that eventually. So that's
That's
kind of,
awesome.
that. So that's kind of, my reward, and it's, yeah, I kind of just love the fact that I've designed something from scratch to finish, and somebody else is finding it useful. I think,
I can hear you're
that's,
so passionate about it, man. That's so
yeah,
great.
I enjoy it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So basically, it started with a caravan, right? And you built
Indeed.
something, and then you posted those files on Cults, and then the 3D printed product you would put on eBay and Etsy. That's my
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we've just had this thing in the UK, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but the tax offices are cutting down, a lot on Etsy and eBay sales and things like that. So I'm quite happy
We'll be
now
here all
not.
day if we talk about taxes, bro. We'll be here all day.
Yes. So I'm not here to try and sell as many items these days. I find it quite happy to just, anything that's 100% profit, I can afford to pay tax on. Anything where your margins are so tight, like Etsy and eBay, it's sometimes it's just not worth the while anymore,
Yeah,
because
I agree. I agree.
so
I was actually thinking about building a platform where it's just here, just pay a flat fee, and I won't take any because Etsy takes what they say 8%. Dude, I think it's more, dude.
yeah, then there's the transaction fees, the relist fees, and
Right,
all of that.
right. So after the 8% cut that Etsy takes, it's actually at like 20. And if your margins are already at like 50, you're stuck at 30% margins. Dude, is that even worth it?
Yeah, and then the tax man takes some, and and you've got to keep some aside, for the tax man, and it just becomes a lot of work. Whereas, a lot of these, they're just paid hobbies for us, aren't they? They pay for your printer, or they pay for, you to do the thing that you love doing, and that's kind of where I see it. It pays for me to keep buying more equipment. I'm getting into vinyl printing and things like that now, you know. So
Hmm.
again, but I'm incorporating that into, you know, I print a stand for something, and then I cut the perspex, you know, on the CO2 laser. Then I sublimate print a design onto that, and I make a clock, you know. And it's just like I've
Hmm.
made a clock from scratch, you know. And it's a unique design, and it's unique to me. And then, you know, you can just sell those sort of concepts, and you can say, well, you know, send me a picture. And that's another thing, you know, I'm doing now at the moment is clocks. You know, people send me their family picture. They say, you know, they want it on a rose shape, or they want it on a circle. And with all the tools that we get now with 3D printing and lasers, etc., you can produce it on anything. You know, you can just take a picture and stick it on whatever they want. So it's always just coming up with the next idea that brings a bit of passion, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. So do you mind answering how much roughly are you making a month on the business?
Yeah, I do about 450 to 500 now. You know, that's between Etsy, eBay, um, uh, Colts,
Hey man,
and
that's
you know
not
the
bad
various.
because let's just call it at 500, right? That's 6,000 a year.
Yeah, and
Even
it
if you
and
just
it's
if you put that $6,000 a year for the next 10 years in an account, dude, and then not touch it, you retire with $1 million.
oh, that'd be
It's
quite nice, wouldn't it? I
yeah,
mean,
it's
but
it's
I keep
pretty
spending
crazy.
it,
You know what
but
I
it it,
mean?
it,
But yeah,
it it
and
pays a lot of
but
bills.
with how
Yeah,
times are right now, you do have to spend it, man. Dude, everything's so damn expensive. And that $600, $500 a month, it helps a lot.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I like my toys. You know, that's the thing, is that I'm always looking for the next thing to learn. You know, I'm trying to convert a printer at the moment to DTF. You know, if you do you know anything about the printing side of things, or you know, so direct to film printing. So I'm kind of just trying to if you want to buy a direct to film printer, or a direct to fabric printer, they're about £30,000, you know, or
Oh,
fifty
oh, oh,
thousand
oh,
dollars.
those. Okay, okay, okay. I was like, DT. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
So for us that work from home as hobbyists, you know, I don't want to spend that sort of money. I'm never going to produce those sort of turnover figures. So
Hmm.
you know, I bought myself a £300 printer, you know, and I'm converting it, you know, using 3D printed parts and, you know, various
That's
objects,
really
because
cool, man.
I want to put like a roller feed on the back of it so that I can feed the film through. But of course, you can't buy that, because you know this printer isn't designed for that. You know, but we've got a 3D printer, we've got Fusion 360. We can make whatever we want. You know, so
Speaking
I'm
of
just
Fusion
sort of.
360, you mentioned that people come up to you and they ask and they talk to you and they, ask you if you can design things. Do you charge them per hour for design?
I do. In fact, the other day, we have a car in the UK. I mean, again, I don't know how it translates across to the US, but anybody watching from the UK will remember the Ford Fiesta RS Turbo. There's a little small hot hatchback from the early 80s. And they came with a specific kind of wheel with like a wrap round hubcap, which is the bit that goes in the middle, you know, over the wheel nuts.
Sure, sure.
And some guy sort of seen that I posted something on this Ford group about I made these badges, and he said, "Do you think you could design with this hubcap if I gave you one? Because I've got one, but I need another seven." And I said, like, you know, I kind of looked at the design and I thought, this is going to be the most challenging thing I've ever had to design, because there's a lot of curves in there, you know, that
Mhm.
aren't natural curves. They're kind of curved inwards, and then they follow the path. And I kind of I said, you know what? I still want to do it. If I can't do it, I don't charge you. If I do it, you pay me, you know, whatever the rate is, because it's you know, it's needed. So, well, I can't get them anywhere else. He says they're not made anymore. They're like, we call it rocking horse poo, basically. You can't get them you can't
So
get
do
them.
you charge per hour or per project?
Yeah, so I gave him a set price. I kind of knew how long it would take a professional to draw it, you
Hmm.
know, and I kind of based the hours on that. So I based it, I said it'd be about 3 hours work. I charged him the fee. I knew that a professional could do it in 2 to 3 hours. It took me 7 hours, but you know, to me, it's the learning opportunity. You know,
Sure.
so I learned
Next
how
time
to
it's not
do
going to
certain.
take you 7 hours. Next time it's going to
Exactly.
take you 4. And then
Yeah.
after
So I
that, it's going
think
to take
it's
you 2 to 3 where you're actually where the professional is. And then you would charge,
absolutely.
those same rates. Yeah.
And I can continue to sell the design, because, as I've always said to them, so you know, I design it for you. I will always give you the file for personal use, but the design rights always remain with me. You know, so that I can then stick it on Colts and continue to sell it and continue to make money off of that time anyway.
Right.
So I know overall I'm not going to lose. I try and always give a fair price.
So it's always good to learn how to design yourself, right? It's
Absolutely.
always good to know when you're in 3D printing, yeah, knowing how your machine works and knowing how to 3D print stuff. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but the real money is in the design side,
I think so. I mean, what
right?
printer do you have?
Combining both is, I mean, that's the holy grail. But learning how to design your own stuff is it's priceless. It's, I mean, you don't
A
have
lot of
to,
people
but it's so recommended.
a lot of people rely on the designers, don't they? Even people that get into 3D printing now, they tend to go out and they buy the designs of others to produce because they enjoy the printing and they enjoy seeing the printer produce something for nothing, but they don't have the time or the skills or the dedication or the experience to maybe get into doing that product. I mean, what printer is it you've got?
Um, I started with the Creality CR10, and then
Yep,
I went
the
up
big,
to
yeah,
this
nice.
with yeah. So and then I decided to go up. I wanted bigger because I was doing all the Iron Man stuff, a lot of the cosplay stuff, and so I went up to a CR10 S4. And then I downsized last year when I got my X1 Bamboo Labs. I mean, dude, I cannot say
The X1 or the XC one?
X1C. Sorry, I have the X1C. I
Yeah,
have the
yeah, yeah.
X1C. So I have two X1Cs. And Creality sent me a K1. And I was like, you guys, you rushed this. I was like, y'all rushed the hell out of this. But yeah, the X1C is it's an amazing machine. Um, and the learning curve, I mean, Bamboo Labs they've really shortened the learning curve when it comes to learning and
Printing.
getting into the
Yeah,
hobby,
yeah.
right? The only the only caveat is the price, right?
I
It's
don't.
thirteen hundred
I don't.
dollars for the Bamboo Lab X1C,
But
but it just your learning curve goes from like here to like here, you know. And going back to a business, it's it makes it so easy to get into. You know what I mean?
I think that you started with the 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 Creality large. I went from the uh Ender 3 V2 onto CR6s, and I bought loads of CR6s shop returns, because people were saying the ABL didn't work, and I
Mm.
bought one and I worked out where they weren't working. It was on the underside. It was really easy to adjust it. You just had to adjust the four screws underneath the plate and then put the panel back on, and they worked perfect. But it was great for me because they were going really cheap in the UK. People were buying them. The ABL wasn't working, so they'd send it back and they'd have to sell it cheap. So I was buying all these CR6s really cheap. I had like 9 in the end, and I was sort of doing a lot of production. And I was taking them, fixing them, and they were really good workhorses for me. And then
So
I
do
think
you
I
have a
got
print farm now?
I have a mini print farm as such. So I was trying, yeah. So where I went to, I then got a CR6 Max
Mm-hmm.
because that was the next progression. And then Bamboo came out, and I was like, look at the speed of that.
Yeah.
Look at
Oh.
the speed of that. Wow. So I, as soon as it came out, I knew it was going to revolutionize 3D printing. So
Absolutely.
so I sold then. All my CR6s were for sale before the Kickstarter had even really started delivering. So there was like 3 months I had like 2 printers left, because I had some FL Sun printers and stuff as well that I was using. But I just thought, no, I get rid of it, because the bottom's going to drop out of the market. You're not going to be able to
Same.
sell your
Yeah,
printers for
dude.
anything. So I sold all of them, and I've now got like 4 CR6s with twin AMS units on each one. I've got a couple of Saturns, and then I've also got the laser printers and stuff.
Nice,
But
man.
my production is just the same as having 7 CR6s, a CR6 Max, and 3
Same.
FL
Yeah,
Suns,
dude.
because you could just turn it out so quickly.
Bamboo Labs they destroyed us. Like, y'all ruined 3D printing for everybody. Like, this is amazing.
Can you
Um,
remember the Prusa's going for like $600, second hand, and now
yeah, dude.
you can pick them up for 250, and it's just like, yeah, you're destroying Prusa.
Um, so how did you get your first clients and your customers and your traffic? Like, was it so you put them up on eBay? Was it just kind of organic traffic on eBay? Was it organic traffic on
Yeah,
Etsy? How did it come
I
up?
I was kind of I'm kind of been I've kind of been sly. I'm not sure I want to give away this as a marketing technique, because I don't encourage it. I don't encourage this, but I am. If I designed a part for, say, my truck, I would go into the truck groups on Facebook and I'd say, "Oh, I've made this little part," and they go, "Oh, that's really nice," but I never try and sell it. Never try and sell it. Just say, "I've made this part." You will find that if that part is nice, there will be lots of people saying, "Can you make me the part? Can you make me that part? Can you do this for me? Could you make that badge for me?" Like one of my best sellers is like a little side badge for a Ford Ranger that I personalize with a company logo in up to 8 colors. Obviously, it's a tiny little piece. It doesn't cost me much to make, as I'm sure you can imagine, but I sell them for £15 each. And the reason being is
You
nobody can
hooker.
get them
That
anywhere
thing
else.
costs you 30 cents to make.
Exactly, and I sell them for £15, about $22. But the point
Atta
is that
boy.
nobody else makes them. So it's a conned market. But I've
And
never
you can
I've
even
never
make
said I'm
custom
selling them.
ones, dude. Just
That's
those
what I'm
just those
making.
logos on the dash, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, they go on the little side of a Ford Ranger. There's a little indent and it
Oh,
says
oh, on the
3.2.
outside. On the
Yeah,
outside.
yeah.
Dude, you can
And I
make
just
those custom actually.
yeah, well they
And if you
basically
if you
come to
print
me.
them in PET G, they're more heat resistant. So, because
Yeah,
if you print that sucker in
I
PLA,
lacquer them.
it'll melt in the sun. It'll warp.
I
It's
it might in
gone.
America, in the UK we don't get that.
You know what I
But
mean?
I lacquer them basically to give them a bit of protection against UV rays, but they don't warp in the UK. We don't get those sort of temperatures. But yeah, I mean, people want just a little company logo on the side of their truck, just to sort of distinguish it from the others.
Dude,
And
that's a
I
great
just
business idea, man.
just showed that off, and yeah,
There
that
you go,
was
you
that was a good
guys. I'm
seller.
telling you, we're gonna put this in the 3D Printed Profits Academy, and we'll explore this, and somebody needs to take this. If you don't, Andy will, and Andy's gonna make money. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
you can make them in the US. You can have my idea for the US. Just go make custom truck badges. Just
Custom
go,
truck badges.
yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
just like if you do the Autobots symbol or like the Decepticon symbol, oh my gosh, stupid.
You can,
Instead of just a
but
stick.
that's yeah, it works with the vinyl as well. I kind of do like a whole thing. It's like people want like a logo on it. I basically use the logo, the Ford badge, the rear badge, the front badge, and I put their company logos on it. And you've basically, just done your whole truck for, 70, £80 that I sell it for. And it costs me maybe under £10, so
$2, Andy. two
no, it's
dollars,
not
bro.
not quite that cheap. Not quite that cheap.
So let's talk about some struggles. What struggles did you have when you first started? Like what did you go through that you're just like,
I think
mother
I
trucker?
think it's the ongoing struggle. It's that I'm great at design, I'm great at invention, but I'm really weak at marketing. Marketing is the weak point. So I'm
You and
reliant upon,
98% of the world, Andy.
yeah, I'm reliant upon Etsy and eBay and all these sites for people to find my products. And like I said, I've go in the Facebook groups and I'll try and make myself known. But I don't like hard sellers myself, so I never try and be a hard seller. I don't go in there
Same,
advertising my
same.
product. I try and let people come to me. If they say, I like your product, would you make it for me? It's like, yeah, of course I will. And you find that, I am slowly growing. It's like there's a couple of guys who are in the Ford groups that I know that do good things, and I always promote their business. And I go into those same groups and somebody's asked, where can I get this type of thing? And I see those same people have promoted me back. And you kind of think you give and receive. And I think, you just kind of got to work with that.
Man, speaking of Facebook groups, shout out to the 3D printing for beginners and pros, that Facebook group. Shout out to you guys. That's where I found Andy, and Andy was like, "Hey, I want to be on a podcast." So
I'll be on
shout
a
out to you
podcast.
guys, Jason, and all those cats out there. You guys are awesome. Um, so how did you overcome that struggle, man? Like, is there
I
something that you're doing, or is just kind of
I
like
don't think
gotta
I don't
keep
think I
trucking?
have. I don't think I have. I thought I just keep pushing, I just keep going on TikTok and putting things up there, without trying to sell. I go on Facebook and I listen in groups for people looking A for a solution to a problem, or B looking for a problem that I've already got a solution for, and I kind of just keep doing it. And you hope, we have a series in the UK and it's called Only Fools and Horses. It's going back to the 80s. And there's a guy on there called Del Boy, and he's sort of Cockney London, and everyone in the UK is going to know exactly where I am with this. But he always has a saying that he said to his little brother, and he go, "One day we'll be millionaires," and he kind of just keeps trying, he just
That
keeps
reminds
trying,
me of
keeps trying.
someone from Peaky Blinders. Fantastic show, by the way.
But yeah, so I haven't got over it. I haven't got over it. I just keep trying. We just keep plodding. We're just looking for the next big idea, aren't we? And I'm just hoping that one day I find it. But in the meantime, I'm just happy. I'm just happy doing it and challenging myself and learning. So I'm not worried if I don't overcome it. I've got a decent job in my main life and my main career. So I always see this as a paid hobby that may one day take me somewhere.
So the genius is the consistency. The genius isn't in the product design. The genius isn't in the marketing. The genius, according to Andy, and I'm going to attest to this, is that you don't quit. The genius is
No,
in the
just keep going.
consistency, is
Just
going
keep
to keep
producing.
going.
Yeah, and you can only get better. You can only improve your skills, and eventually your skills are going to surpass the requirement, and that's the time when you're going to have that genius idea. I mean, if we can sidestep a little bit, I came out of an idea when I was about 19 years old that I never had the money to produce, and always kicked myself that I never pursues it further because I've just seen that Mercedes have just started doing it 35 years after I came out with the idea, and they never obviously got it off of me. But I always came out with the idea that brake lights should flash slow and then faster until they're solid. So the lighter you're on the brakes, the slower the flash, and the faster you're on the brakes, the quicker the flash until it comes on solid. And they've just come out with that idea now 35 years. And I came out that idea 35 years ago, I swear. Okay, and it just kicks me that I never had the money or the ability to produce that product then, because I think it would have been such a brainwave. So I guess what I'm saying is just keep having ideas. Keep having ideas, because one of them eventually is going to work, isn't it?
Well, shit, man. Since we're sharing, I heard this quote. It's not really a story. Is if you ever think your idea is stupid, there's a guy who made hundreds of millions of dollars inventing the pool noodle.
Oh, I know what you're on about. Yeah,
You understand me?
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
freaking pool noodle.
And now everybody has them.
And now, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever thought your idea is stupid, think of the pool noodle,
Yeah, keep going. Just
right?
keep going. I think.
So, again, you guys, the genius is in the consistency. It's not in the design, the marketing, the business, the operations. It's none of that, right? Don't get me wrong. That's important. Please don't take this one away. It's important. You need that. Okay.
No,
But
absolutely. I
you have to
totally
keep
agree.
going. You have to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I've you
Um,
know I've come up with some good ideas, and the thing is that the solutions I've come up with have 99% of the time just been for me, and so I'm already a winner because I've got something doing something for me that I couldn't get somewhere else. So my clip for the caravan, it performs a function for me that I could not buy anywhere else.
right,
And
right.
customization of cars, etc. It's to me that's what keeps me going, is because I wouldn't have these solutions and I wouldn't have these products if it wasn't for keeping it going. It's like when the AMS unit first came out for bamboo, I was the first person to put a two-tier stand onto onto the bamboo site,
Hey, look at
so
that.
that you could put one above the other, because I didn't have the space at home. I've got four XC1s and some other. I just didn't have the space for putting the units, next to each other or either side of it. I wanted it up and above. And they didn't provide anything, did they? So, and I'm still selling 3 or 4 of those a week on the design, on Colts.
That's
They're still
awesome.
going every week. So it's
So
simple designs.
So that brings me to pricing, right? A lot of people are like, "Oh, you should have an X amount for margin, or you should sell your product at this amount." You guys, and I've said this before in a prior interview. It's you have to price your product according to the solution that
According
it
to the
provides,
market,
right?
yeah,
If if
what
if
people will
your
pay.
little piece of lock or whatever takes you 30 cents to produce, are you going to sell it for $1 just because of the margin rules? No, you're not. No, you're not. Right? Because your solution saves the person. If your solution saves a person like $50, you can sell that little piece for $50, even though it costs you 30 cents to make, you guys. Okay. So
I've got a little part that's on a door on a window stay for a caravan again. So it's a little end clip and a bolt goes through it, and it attaches on the end of a hydraulic arm. Now, the hydraulic arms, if you need to go and buy the hydraulic arm, they're £84, so $110. Okay. This part that I sell I sell for £5. It costs me 4p, 2p to make. I sell it for £5 or £6, depending which one it is, for a couple of them. And the reason I can sell it for that much money is because it's saving them £70. You know,
Dude,
so
you
they
can
just
even
buy.
sell that thing for 20 bucks, Andy.
It's 3D printed. I think the quality, we kind of have to base it on that. I think if it's injection molded, yeah, I would do that. But you know, it's about
You know how much
sell
an
it for what the
injection
market
molding
will
for a
pay for it.
small piece like that would cost? You cheap bastard. You cheap motherfucker. Just get an injection mold. Get 100 at a time. You'll get 100 in an hour. All you,
Yeah.
God, you
But
kill me,
we
bro.
we've got 3D printers. We can just print them when the orders come in.
Right, that's true. So you would end up being, you would be small scale manufacturing, right?
Exactly. But you know, again, you know, that pulls in 1,000% profit on a little part. You know, all right, I'm only
Right.
selling it for £5 or
Mhm.
£6, but it's 1,000% profit. Again, it's going back to your margin rules. If you say we're going for the margin rules, and I had 30% onto 3p, I'm selling them for 6p each. Well, I'm not. I'm selling them
Terrible.
for £7 each. You know, so
Right.
I'm over 1,000%.
Right.
But
So
I'm
these are the
saving
kinds of
them
things that,
£70.
yeah, absolutely. Dude, you're saving the guy 70 pounds, 20, dude, 20 pounds, right? $25 USD. And these are the kinds of things that we teach in the academy. It's like, you guys, your pricing is tough though, right? I don't get this right all the time. I still make mistakes in pricing, but you have to, you price yourself accordingly in direct proportion to your solution, right? And these are the kind of things we teach in the academy, in a 3D printed profits academy. So shameless plug there, you guys. So what's going on with you now? Like what's working today in terms of marketing? Like what are you doing? Is it all just kind of the same, just going steady?
Yeah, I mean, I just keep going. Like I said, I just keep putting it on Facebook, and you know, I just keep coming up with new designs. I think the more products I get, the more sales I'm going to make. You
Are
know,
you
and like I
using
say,
just Fusion? You're using Fusion because you have to be, it's precision, right? For you?
I think Fusion. I didn't want to start simple and then have to change, so I started complicated and had the steep learning curve. But now I'm in a more powerful position because the product that I'm using is more powerful, and it allows me to create shapes
What
that
are
you
you
can't
using
create.
now?
Fusion.
So you're still using Fusion.
Yeah,
Okay,
Fusion
cool. So you're using,
360. I think,
right.
you know,
No, the reason I ask is because Fusion 360 is, I think it's more useful with designing the things that you're specifically making for you,
yeah,
because you're
practical
designing,
items. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
parts and stuff like that. I personally use Blender because I make art
Rendering.
and
Yeah, yeah.
like toys, right? And where I don't really need to be super precise with everything. Um, so sorry,
Yeah, I'm
I
quite
cut you
envious
off.
actually.
You were talking about
I
marketing and
know.
what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I mean, I find that, you know, Blender, I've tried to use it and it's way above my knowledge threshold, you know, because I'm not artistic. You know, I'm not an artistic person. Everything that I'm doing, like you say, is all about measurements. You know, it's all about concise and getting it exactly right and making sure everything, you know, links in together. Whereas, you know, yours is more about, if you're, you know, if I'm understanding you correctly, is that how pretty it looks, you know, and how attractive it is and how detailed and realistic, you know, in regards to, you know, the model type of thing. So yeah, the different tools for the different needs. But the marketing, yeah, sorry. I just keep going, you know, I just working on the premise that the more products I come out with, the more sales I'm going to make, you know, and working on the premise that I'm using Colts and I'm just selling designs. Um, my portfolio is just growing, which means my sales are just growing. You know, so I've gone from, you know, selling £20 a month, and now I'm at £200-300 a month. But when I was doing, you know, I was selling models when I first started. I was maybe doing £100 a month, of which there was less profit, because the fact is, with the profits, you know, you've got to pay for your filament and your electricity and your time. Whereas with the products I'm selling on Colts, I've got no outlay. Once I've designed it, it's
It's
on
done.
there and it's done. And people can download it. They have it instant. I haven't got to post it. I haven't got to deal with returns. I haven't got to deal with something that doesn't work. You know, I haven't got to deal with something that got broken or lost in the post. They just download it. They've got the product and they're happy. You know, so all my time is spent into getting the product right first time. And that's what I'm using my printers for mostly now, is printing off my my product until I am happy that nobody is going to send it back to me, because I want them to be happy with what they're buying. I don't send out something that's just about right or kind of fits or maybe looks similar. I try to give them the end product that just works as you need it to work.
Heck yeah, man. Dude, so that's really it for me, Andy. I know you have stuff to do. I think I got your email earlier. You're saying that work call and you got stuff to do. But dude, I'm
Yeah.
having so much fun. You and I could talk for hours. Um,
Well, let's do it again. 6 months from now, let's see where we are.
Absolutely. I actually emailed a bunch of the people that I interviewed last a year ago, 2 years ago. It's like, hey, let's do another episode. Like, where are they now? Episode. So, but before I go, I need you to give me your number one tip for anyone who wants to start their own business.
I think push yourself beyond your comfort level.
That's a
I do
good
see, I
one.
do see a lot of people that will buy a printer and then 6 months from now, excuse me, 6 months from now, they're not doing much with their printer because all they've ever done is print somebody else's designs. I think use your printer to do everything it can possibly do for you. So push your abilities. I didn't do 3D design 3 years ago, and when I first picked up Fusion, it scared the living daylights out of me. I was like, how the hell am I ever going to get to grips with this? But we're in the 20th century, 21st century, and there is YouTube, there are forums, there are groups, there are other people, there are people that want to share and want to help. Use those things. Go online and pick up new skills. We're only on this life for a short time. Better yourself.
Attaboy. Attaboy. I like that. Okay, that's it for me. Andy, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. You guys, um, Andy, again, thank you. And we'll do this again in 6 months, man.
Yeah, be good. Thanks, Nico. See you later.
Later.
Bye bye. Bye bye.